Good afternoon, Central Dauphin Rams football fans. Hey, this is this week's Central Dauphin Rams football scouting report to slate it. It's Wednesday, October 3rd, and I'm going to be visiting shortly here with Coach Tom Carmo, right? Special teams coach for the Rams. And we're gearing up for the Friday's game against Altoona. It's going to be Friday night in Altoona at 7 o'clock against the Mountain Lions. They come into that game 3-3 overall. I believe 1-2 in the league. Yes, 1-2 in the league. Coach Carmo, how long have you been affiliated with Central Dauphin Rams football?
10 seasons.
Really? Okay, wow, long time. And have you, over that span, what kind of coaching duties have you had?
I started out coaching JVs, did that for a few years, moved over to the varsity as a defensive coach. I coached defensive backs for a couple years, and the last 3 seasons I've been the special teams coordinator.
Okay, and then what kind of football background did you have during your youth?
Oh my, that was a long time ago. I grew up in Western PA, so I'm playing football in a WPIL. Played a couple years at St. Francis.
Okay.
And then enlisted in the Army in 1986. Went to Fort Drum, New York, and while I was there, I played 6 seasons in the Empire Football League semi-pro for Watertown Red and Black.
Okay. And just to wrap up your tenure, how long have you been doing special teams coaching?
3 years as the coordinator, helping out before that for a couple years.
Okay. And then looking, I was reflecting on this season, and so far, it seems like our special teams play has been pretty good.
We're not doing too bad. There's definitely room for improvement.
Okay.
But we focus a lot on field position and on winning the field position battle each week, and so far we've been doing a really good job of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you had an advantage. I hope to talk to number 92, Derek Krug. I mean, sending the ball into the end zone certainly makes it easier on the kickoffs.
It does. It does. We really pride ourselves on kickoff coverage, but it definitely helps when our kicker can put it into the end zone and give us a touchback. Yeah.
And then transitioning last year from Van Buskirk on kicking and punting to this year, 2 different players. But number 43, what is Minnick's first name?
Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle Minnick seems to be doing a good job on punting, and based on my view.
Really well. It's hard for Kyle because he's a starting linebacker and he also plays tight end, so he doesn't really get a whole lot of practice. But when he does get an opportunity, he works really hard, and he's been performing really well for us this year as a punter.
Yeah, it was standout play last week against Harrisburg when he got a bad snap.
Athlete, yeah.
Got a snap, but still got off a great punt.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did a real nice job of recovering there. It went through his legs. I know he'd like to have that one back, but a really nice recovery, and he still dropped it out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Yep. And then just to wrap things up, let's look ahead to Altoona. Since you're the coach of the week in terms of this scouting report, what challenges, based on your reviewing of film, does Altoona bring to the Rams?
Well, Altoona's a good football team. They play a tough schedule. I mean, when you play in the Mid-Penn Commonwealth, everybody has a tough schedule. Yep. They do a lot of things well on offense. They got a pretty solid defense, and they seem to be pretty sound on special teams. So we're not phoning this in by any means. We're ready. We're ready to head up there and play a good football team. And we've had a really good week of practice. So.
Okay. Yep. Again, I'm visiting with special teams coordinator Tom Carmo. 2 other quick questions here. One on special teams. How many, in terms of your personnel, how many do you use a lot of starters on the punt and kickoff teams, or are you mixing in other players to? Because those guys are going full speed, and it's dangerous.
It is. We try not to use a whole lot of two-way players, but we do have a few. Just like normal years, we've got about 29 or 30 kids that play special teams on 6 different units. This year, 11 are starters on offense and defense. So we do have some youth out there, but some of our best athletes are some of our best special teams players too.
Right. Yeah, and at the high school level, there's not a whole lot of specialization, I don't think.
Well, there is a little bit. With a team that has a roster the size of ours, larger schools, you have the luxury of having more athletes. you can spread them around and play offense or defense. We've got probably about a half a dozen kids that are our best players on offense and defense, and you hate to get them off the field.
Right. Yeah, Coach Mack did tell me that this year we do have the luxury of having as far as line play, we do have somewhat separate teams, and that's good. Last question is, I had some commentary on a morning show I do about Altoona coming into the league, the distance we have to travel out there. I'm not so sure it's the best thing, but on the competitive side, it may be fine. But in terms of the Rams on Friday night, are you guys going out in a school bus, or do you have this the luxury of having a higher level vehicle to get out there?
I'm sure we'll be in coach buses.
Okay.
It'll be a good trip. I mean, we've always we like to maintain that Viking mentality that we'll go anywhere and play anybody on their turf. So the kids are excited about this. It's the first year that the Mountain Lions have come back into our conference, and we're excited to go up there the first year and play them up there.
Yeah, it's not so much football, but basketball and volleyball, all that. That's a tough trip. So the powers that be at the Mid-Penn are going to have to take a look at that. But that's for another day. Thanks you so much for visiting. It's nice meeting you, Coach Carmo. Okay, we're going to move over to the player interview for this week's Central Dauphin Rams football scouting report prior to Friday's big game against Altoona as the Rams go for win number 5. I'm visiting with number 3, junior safety and wide receiver, Nick Chimienti. Nick, I mean, the Lingo Sound Gazette sports crew has been watching you intently. You're sort of out there a lot with various positions, and I mean, I think you're having an outstanding season. But what's your own assessment with your performance this year so far?
I mean, on defense, a few times I dropped, a lot of interceptions, which kind of hurts. But I missed a few tackles. But I mean, I'm just hard on myself. I just try to just be the best I can.
Yeah, and I think last year you were a standout in the backfield, and this year, I mean, just describe for the viewers the difference between the position you played last year and the new one you're playing this year. Just what it means as far as responsibilities and all that.
So last year I played, Grant Smith played the Z, which is what I play this year.
Now, what's the Z mean? Because that goes beyond my knowledge of football.
It's like the inside receiver, like a slot receiver.
Okay.
So like most of our passes go to him, like most of the time. It's like it's our main receiver basically.
So now you're talking about on offense, you're in that slot position. Okay, yeah, I was going to start with defense, but on offense, you've had a couple. It seems like when you get in space, you can make some stuff happen with your speed and quickness.
Yeah.
And what did you do? I know I talked with your dad. You did some extra work, I would say, in the off season to build that speed and quickness and different things. Like last week, you did a spin move and got a bunch of yards on a short pass, that kind of thing. What did you do in the off season to help that kind of thing?
I work out with Lance Dean. We do all kinds of speed and agility, just quickness, hands drills, eye coordination, all kinds of good stuff.
And do you think, a couple times you have gotten the ball like on a longer pass and have sort of blown by everybody? I mean, do you think you're faster this year? Yeah,
I added a lot of strength from last year to this year, and then speed and agility with Lance also helped a lot.
Okay. Now let's switch over to defense, because I think there you talked about offense a new position, defense a new position too. What was the transition you made this year?
I went from corner to free safety.
Okay, and then with that free safety position, how does that differ from what you were doing last year?
I kind of cover like all over the field. Like I have like different sets to formation, so I help out, underneath, over top, all kinds of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's where you shine. I think you can close on that ball very quickly and break things up. And of course, every once in a while, things are going to get by you. But that's just the nature of the game. You're not going to be perfect, that's for sure. Just to wrap things up, as far as the Central Dauphin Rams offense, at times we've sputtered, especially with tougher defenses. Do you have any idea in terms of your own view of things, what it's going to take for us to move the ball consistently against tougher defenses? Do you have any idea what it might take to do that?
We just got to play together as a team, just help each other out.
Yeah, and I think we're going into this is week 7, and I think there's 10.
6, I think.
We're at 4-2 right now, I think.
Oh, yeah,
so week 7. So we got 3 more games, including this weekend, and probably going to be in the playoffs. I think you guys still have a chance to advance your play, to get better as we go heading into the playoffs. I mean, that would be my view and hope, that you guys can continue to progress.
Yeah, Coach Mack always says that.
Does he?
Yeah.
And I think one of the areas you guys can work together, and we have a rookie quarterback this year with Noah Huffman, so hopefully he can continue to progress, and that as we get closer to the playoffs, he'll have more experience and more reps and all that kind of thing to help out.
Yeah, Noah gets better every week. He just shines every week.
Yeah.
He gets better.
Last thing, I mean, you guys defeated the Harrisburg Cougars in that first half, 5-0. Of course, their quarterback went crazy in the third quarter, and then we had a pick six. Yeah. But I mean, what did you guys take away from that game?
I mean, we played pretty solid on defense. We even scored on defense. We had a safety, and without their pick six, we let up 14 points against Harrisburg.
I mean, other teams are giving up a ton of points to that team. They had that one bad game against Coatesville, but they've been lights out since until they hit the Rams.
Yeah.
So I just want to wish you good luck on Friday. Maybe an interception and a TD pass. Add that to your portfolio. That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
All right, good luck, Nick. Again, we're visiting with Nick Chimienti. So how do you say Z receiver? Is that what the name is?
Just say slot.
Slot receiver and safety. Thanks for visiting with me.
Thank you.